The history that Native and Black Americans have suffered with white supremacy, violence, terror, discrimination is horrific. And that discrimination goes on today in many ways. But that is not the story of our documentary. This is.
It's not that Indian people can't do business. It's they don't value profit over community. They don't value profit over life. So we were never going to succeed by their metrics, because a tree only has value once it's cut down and it's board feet on the market.
How can we build, not having one big company where you have hundreds and hundreds of employees, but looking at models in these neighborhoods where we could, create several companies with, 50 employees at a time, where we could build wealth in the community.
We are at a pivotal moment in history to reimagine finance, to redefine finance, and reprioritize our funding, reprioritize what money can do. We can reverse the script, rewrite the rules of money, reverse the script so that money can be used to help and heal our communities rather than harm.
As a change agent in economic and social justice for over 45 years, I knew stories of resilience, well-being, and prosperity were taking root on reservations and in cities all across this land. And I set out on a road trip that covered 14,000 miles, lots of driving, little sleep, several rental car disasters, and I found these gems of hope and optimism, and my eyes were opened to so much more. Native and Black Americans share a fundamental belief that is crucial to their existence and to their way of life. Natives often use the term relatives when describing relationships with one another, with all the animals, and with even nature itself. And Africans being enslaved here still were infused with the communal plasma found in their native communities and lands that they were leaving behind.
Western colonizer society is very much individualism and individual wealth accumulation and individual asset accumulation and what's best for me. We pushed back against that because it was under these auspices or perceived notions of power that our nations were nearly annihilated. That word power is not even a part of our Lakota language. It's something that's so foreign because it's not rooted in anything that's in our value system.
We talk about that. We talk about our unhoused relatives don't need more policing, right? We don't need for the city and for the police to criminalize poverty. We need connection. We need relationality. We need those relationships. We need to be a community and take care of each other.
African American mutual aid started pretty much on the boats when we were dragged here forcibly in chains. We were helping each other, even though on the boats we were, the captors wouldn't even let people who spoke the same language or who were from the same community be chained together. So, I mean, that kind of mutual aid and camaraderie is really incredible when you think about it, because you had people who weren't from the same culture, they weren't from the same religion, they didn't even have the same language, but they still were helping figure out how to support each other.
Our economy was built on the industry of enslaved people. It was built on the genocide and stolen lands of Native Americans. And I wanted to know what's happening with them. What is happening to give them wealth equity? What is happening to make their lives better? What solutions were out there? And so that's why I made this.
So we have, on our 34 acres, we have a regenerative community development. It's one of our 8 initiatives. Currently, we have 21 single-family homes, 7 are complete. Our broader goal for this community is to be net zero. We are designing a truly Lakota total immersion school that we will construct here on our 34 acres in the near future.
It's an immersion program. They'll hear the educators, including myself, always in the language, always speaking Lakota with them, And so it becomes their norm of every place they go, from whether they're eating in a cafeteria area, or if they're out to recess, the teachers will always be engaging with them and asking them questions, to creating dialogue with them.
The Lakota Regenerative Buffalo Range is a 28,000 acre buffalo range that will be home to 1,500 animals. When you reintroduce buffalo back onto a Great Plains prairie ecosystem, they begin to regenerate the land, and they even create microclimates. One of the things that buffalo do is a practice called wallowing, where they will use their horns and kind of tear up a portion of the ground and then wallow in it. Well, what happens over time is those wallows fill up with water and create these mini wetland environments, which become homes to birds and help increase kind of aquatic animals, and so they're healing the land and restoring and rewilding the environment, while at the same time creating carbon sinks that are going to help combat climate change.
When I first came to Lakota Funds in 2008, I thought a credit union is different enough than a bank, because it is member owned, and not to make some bank board members, owners wealthy. Right. Until Lakota Federal Credit Union was chartered, there was not a single bank, federally insured financial institution depository on the Pine Ridge Reservation.
And the deposit base for a public bank are the taxes, the fees, the fines, the funds, the revenue that our city accrues, which then leverages to create loans, just like any other bank. But the difference between a public bank and a private bank is, with a public bank, the interest and profit belongs to the community. So rather than it gets siphoned out of state by private Wall Street bankers and private shareholders, that money stays here.
The model is such that no less than 80% of the ownership or the equity of any of those businesses is held by the employee owners.
Wow.
So there can never be a dilution event of any sort, no private equity or outside investment that, that might take that ownership level down.
But the main thing, just so folks know that it is actually working on is learning how to produce housing, right? Like different types of 3D print housing. One will look similar to a yurt, kind of a round structure, right? The other one is much more kind of traditional, and then there's two experimental kind of stilt designs with a whole bunch of bells.
It's amazing.
There's big profit in the prison industry, created in large part by the unequal justice in the courtroom.
Public defenders are handling 300, 400, 500 felony cases, 600 misdemeanor cases. And our whole profession, and I want to be clear on this, trial judges, this happens in front of them every single day and they see it, okay? So state Supreme Court judges, the bar associations, the bar disciplinary committees, the state Supreme Courts, the United States Supreme Court, everybody knows this. I'll state it in its simplest terms. Lawyers may not represent more clients than they can competently represent.
I can tell you, in one of our offices, we had what was called a wait list. So if you applied for services in our office, there weren't enough attorneys to take all the cases. So if you were not confined, your case would be put on a list and you would be told, we will get to you when we have an attorney available. I was checking the numbers on that office's wait list recently and saw that it was gone. And I called the attorney who runs the office and I said, where's your wait list? I can't find it. It's not in the database. And she said, well, we don't have it anymore. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have it? How did you do that? She said, you gave me 2 more attorneys. That's how I did it.
These are continuing stories of hope, determination, and optimism.
The transformation that we're trying to effectuate in our community really is this transformation of healing to hope to liberation. Because once you start on your healing journey, you're able to heal from historical traumas, from existing traumas, ongoing traumas. You're able to find hope again. Hope that life can be better, that life can be different. You can start to dream again.
What's most important is these incredible stories of resilience and revitalization and rebirth and reemergence. I think the fact that, you know, in many ways that we're still here is incredible, and a testament to the amazing resilience of our people.
And the real question, I think, for those who genuinely care about others and care about the future, our children or other people's children, future generations, is what kind of system should we transition to?
Our documentary shares these very compelling stories of resilience and powerful change. I'm Janet Roberts. Thank you for your time.